We're good to get started. We're a minute past. So welcome to the solution sync. So this is our second solution sync. Came really quickly. Man, February goes fast. This is the one where we're gonna FinOps sync for you, but just a quick, just rehash up front. So first of all, this is a global call. So there are privacy regulations like all everywhere, different places. So kind of pursuant to that, all the contact will be through the chat, but we will be reading the chat, responding to the chat. We have experts at hand. If Michael sees things that he'd like to address, formally, he'll do those. So please, communicate with us in the chat. Just quickly, like what the solution sync is intended for. So this is only our second month, so we will restate our mission statement. So I'm Jay Platt, Director of Global Partner Solutions. If you were on the last one, you heard a lot from me. Now you will hear less of me. We're going to have different subject matter experts flow in and out. But our, guiding light here is just product focused, rotating through the different solutions areas. So you see now we're at the start with FinOps. These are led by all the smart people within IBM Apptio. So like our CS, enablement, pre-sales, we're here to address your specific questions and issues. Last time we took like the full 45 minutes. Like our charter moving forward on these is like, we know your time is important. You have places to be. So we really want the content to be for 30 minutes. If there's questions and discussion and things are lively and we want to continue, we can, but our intention is just to give you 30 minutes of content here, kind of just be like your one place to come in, dip into these areas, and then you can reach out to the folks you work with on an everyday basis, your PSM, your CS folks, if you want to double click deeper. We also will always at the end of these calls just hit on available resources, quickly provide that out to you. But our intent is to make these quick, focused, and a good use of your time. As far as today, I didn't even realize like I'm wearing the shirt of the band that is being, like it's not cool to wear the shirt of the band, I guess, but like I kind of dressed appropriately. I just realized that, so that was not on purpose. Today we are going to be talking FinOps, and our expert, of the month here is Michael Lau, and I will let him introduce himself, give you an overview, and talk about what we're going to discuss today. Take it away, Michael.
Yeah, thanks, Jay. And I will also say if it's a little a faux pas to wear the shirt of a band, I'm wearing the jacket of the band. So, you can take it for what it's worth. And it's, very highlighter green. But hey, everyone, my name is Michael Lau. I actually, yesterday was my 5 years at Apptio. So that's a kind of a big accomplishment. And I've been really focused on FinOps and kind of the MSP part of Apptio for a while now, and my kind of remit and my focus is on field and partner innovation. So looking at our customers and our partners and really elevating the FinOps game for everyone. I'm also, I put it down there to see if anyone was paying attention, but a self-proclaimed coffee expert. So that right there up above is kind of my coffee setup where I go to every day. A little kind of respite from all the meetings is I get to make myself a coffee. And I have one today with me. So if anyone sees me, this is an open invitation. If anyone sees me at any IBM event, any FinOps event, just let me know. I can try to make you a cup of coffee. If I don't have my equipment on me, I'll buy you a cup of coffee. But this is what I'm drinking today. If anyone wants to know, that is also my hand. Didn't crop that out, but drinking a nice washed Ethiopian. So if anyone is a coffee nerd out there, it's a good chance there's someone else out there. Please let me know what you're drinking today. So again, thanks for the time today, and we'll go ahead and jump right in. My goal today is really to focus on the top 3 to 4 items within our portfolio and our roadmap that make the most sense in this kind of quarter of year, Q1 2026. So let's jump right into it. So the first thing I want to talk about is kind of just a refresher on the product line and understand how we do our product methodology. I'll go into cloudability and KubeCost, and then specifically give you links and information on ways to understand KubeCost a little bit better. KubeCost has been in our portfolio for about a year and a couple months now. So since that acquisition has happened, we've done a lot of great things with KubeCost, and I can't wait to share that with you all. So let's jump into our portfolio. So this is our portfolio, and we have our tiering, our good, better, best product methodology. So when we start to look at what's on the screen here, we start with Cloudability Essentials. And what I really want to point out here is specifically when you look at below for crawl, walk, and run, these are the FinOps maturity phases. So looking at the market, when you look at a customer and understand where they are in their FinOps journey, we have a solution and a tier for them on their journey. So meaning FinOps, so for the crawl maturity level, Cloudability Essentials is that tier for them, meaning they'll have, I would say, crawl to walk capabilities across all of the FinOps phases of inform, optimize, and operate, and have that enterprise backbone behind that platform, meaning data quality, understanding integrations from Jira and ServiceNow, all the way to gaining insights and pushing, or what we call democratizing cloud spend to all those personas. On the next layer, we look at Cloudability Standard, and from this is two main things that we look at that are a couple, well, now three. I need to talk about this newer one called Governance, but we're starting to look at sustainability, financial planning, and governance. So adding that extra layer of maturity on top to give teams with more finance oversight, looking at cloud financials in a more FP&A setting, understanding the impact of cloud infrastructure to the environment with sustainability reporting. So metrics like kilowatt hours consumed, or these are all estimated, of course, an estimated CO2 emissions, and then governance, which I'll talk upon and do a little bit of a demo later, but really shifting left and understanding where developers work. Can we inject FinOps into that process so that developers have a better way of understanding what they're spinning up, what they're pushing into dev or into production or into QA, and give a better indication of, as Jay mentions on several of his calls, this is literally the measure twice, cut once mentality of we're going to measure what we're spending on cloud once or twice, and then do that action once instead of lifting and shifting and then right sizing afterwards. And then finally, the next one is looking at Cloudability Premium. So this is where we have that Turbonomic add-on for cloud targets, meaning that you get performance assurance, right-sizing mechanisms, and optimization within Cloudability, meaning when you have an investment into the cloud, you also need the best performance. So starting to look at optimization actions in terms of not only savings, but investments and having that crossover with Turbonomic. So that is our standard set of Cloudability products. And I want to also introduce Cloudability MSP. So this one is specifically interesting for partners because when we look at MSP, that stands for Managed Service Provider. So meaning you can use Cloudability as a platform to start ingesting costs from your end customers and be able to surface FinOps level insights to your end customers. So this is really a revenue flywheel for you, meaning that you can sell your service using Cloudability MSPs. So a couple of noteworthy things I want to talk about with Cloudability MSP. First is it is aggregating all your cloud spend from all your customers, and you can use that cloud spend to assign to certain customer nodes, and you get that segmentation, logically separated Cloudability environments for your customers. You have full control over access, full control over deployment, full control over spinning up and down in instances, and RBAC control. In the same way, when we're looking at this, you can now aggregate that data from the top level. So meaning there are metrics that we look at, such as charge metrics, and then you can use that to look at margin analysis and profit. So this is, again, a way to create FinOps managed service offerings for your business using Cloudability. So if you have any questions about Cloudability MSP, I just scratched the surface of it. Please ask. I actually want to give you a very distinct example of what that go-to-market may look like. So in this case, this is a example offering. So meaning if you have FinOps as a service, why don't you just model it after our good, better, best methodology that we have with Cloudability, commercial in general, right? So starting to look at tier one, maybe you send out reports, weekly or biweekly reports of cloud spend. That can be tier one. It can be with, if you're reselling the cloud, it can be bundled in with it. Tier two may have more functionality. So starting to really understand, hey, let's look at optimization opportunities, looks at budgets and forecasts and anomaly detection, can bundle that in into tier two. And then really the tier three, the white glove service approach is starting to look at things like giving access to Cloudability to those users. So again, you have full control over access to Cloudability MSP. This allows you to pull in customers and really walk them through what the FinOps lifecycle looks like and help them achieve their FinOps goals and their journeys. So again, this is just a sample tiering of it. If you have any questions, please reach out to myself or Jay. We can get any question answered for you with Cloudability MSP. All right, next up is IBM KubeCost. So in KubeCost, these are kind of the four pillars of what makes KubeCost special. So the first one is looking at multi-cloud, so a single view for any Kubernetes spend. So I'm going to combine the first and the last element there is, when I mean any Kubernetes spend, it's really any Kubernetes spend, meaning it's not cloud, it's not bound to cloud, it's not bound to on-prem. You can have hybrid instances, air-gapped even. So with that said, you can be in many different accounts, from government accounts, state and local, to fully commercial accounts. Any form of how Kubernetes is deployed, KubeCost can handle that. So that's first, and first is being able to have that view over any Kubernetes spend, and then starting to look at cost insights and get recommendations on very detailed parts of this. So a lot of the persona with KubeCost is a little bit more operations and dev focused, which I'll get into in just a little bit. But being able to get that granular view helps those teams make sure that they do the right thing as they move from kind of this monolith to microservices with Kubernetes. How do we do that well? And how do we, again, look at the costs, make sure that we're spending correctly? That's what we do in KubeCost. And then the last one is with some of their latest releases, understanding some guardrails and controls and policies to prevent unwanted spend. So looking at, are you creating resources correctly, those resource limits up and down? Once you have all of those set, you can have that cost governance within Kubernetes. So if you want to learn more about KubeCost, I actually have some things for you. So this is straight from our partner resource deck. We did an enablement about 5 months ago, 6 months ago, for our ecosystem on Kubernetes with our PMM lead there. His name is Joe, and he does an excellent job on concentrating on who this is important to and also what Kubernetes is. So really from the idea all the way to what the product is to who cares about it, Joe does a really good job of doing that. So again, Kubernetes, like Lego blocks, we can talk about all the definitions of it, but great resources on here. So how do you get to these resources? So when we send this deck out afterwards, there are links here, and I've put these links, check these links on Seismic as well. They go directly to what's on there. And then another snippet of that is unique features and fast ROI. When I talk about fast ROI, it's incredibly fast, meaning if you have the right person in the room with the right hands on the keyboard, you deploy your Helm chart, and then you can see your Kubernetes spend in about 5 minutes, which from doing that on a call in real time, the magic is real. You can see what that looks like. And then for those down below working with government customers, looking at VA, the Air Force are looking at KubeCost because it has those security guards in place, meaning air-gapped can be in a standalone environment. KubeCost can be deployed essentially anywhere you have Kubernetes instances. So take a look at that. If you have any questions, again, please put them in the chat. Make this as interactive as possible. So as we move forward, let me take a sip of this coffee that I have here. And we'll talk about, in my opinion, the top three releases that I've seen in the last quarter and a half for FinOps. So we'll go ahead and start with Cloudability and go into a little bit of kubectl, and then I'll end on a governance demo, meaning one of our newer releases. I'll talk through it and we can work through that. So the first one is right now, this is, I believe, in public preview. So meaning this will be in a beta it's an opt-in beta for our customers. So this is intelligent forecasting. I'm starting to look at different ways of modeling financial forecasts with models provided by our watsonx team and our research team, meaning everyone in finance has their own models that they do on spreadsheets and different tools like that. Why can't cloud specific spend also have those models? So our product team answered that call and decided to work with IBM Research on better ways to model forecasts out, especially with the fluid and spiky nature of cloud spend, to give a little bit more insight into predictability across cloud spend. And this is by kind of, I believe it's usage type, usage family, and transaction type here. So starting to look at different elements of spend over time. You can choose a model that best fits your curve. This is, again, a deeper insight, moving the needle a little bit more towards FP&A, but being able to have that predictable spend for cloud. Intelligent forecasting, if you have any questions about it, if you need to see a demo of it, let us know. We'll get you in contact with the team for that as well. This other one is in private preview, meaning if you do need access to it, we have a private beta going on. But again, this is using watsonx in having a conversational insight to our essentially our data model and our ontology. So looking at cloud spend and FinOps data within Cloudability and being able to ask prompts to figure out top spend, top areas that we need to know. The main idea behind this is as interaction with data changes, and we're seeing this in the market today, how people interact with data will be fundamentally different in the next 6 months. So when we start looking at how to prompt specifically, especially with FinOps, we're looking at best ways to surface data in a more consumable way, where we don't have to go through so many reports or dashboards to look at things, but we can query directly and ask for that. So there's two kind of modes for this. One is conversational insights, meaning you can prompt and get answers out of watsonx based off of the data within your environment. And then the other one is expert guidance. We've also trained watsonx to look at all of our help documentation. So if you need help setting something up, and quickly kind of prompt, and the steps will be will be output for you to follow within Cloudability. So again, this is our attempt in our foray into looking at conversational AI and looking at that model, especially with the model being trained on specific data from Cloudability. I know AI is also a pretty hot topic, so if you have any questions, especially around security or how things work within this context, again, please let us know. We'd be happy to put you in contact with the team and our security team on how this is used. All right, you may have seen this release come out early this year, but we have now Cloudability Advanced Containers, which in this case is being able to access kubectl within Cloudability. So meaning kubectl is now behind all of the front door capabilities and the RBAC permissioning within Cloudability, meaning that you can have, if your customers want deeper Kubernetes spend, again, remember kubectl is across any deployment of Kubernetes. So meaning on-prem, hybrid, Red Hat, air gap, you can bring all of that in and start to see some of that data within Cloudability as well through advanced containers. Really quickly with this is an add-on to Essentials, Standard, or Premium. So if you have any customer that is wanting to explore some of this, again, please ask Jay, myself. I see Jim joined us. If you have any questions on how that works, commercial models behind that, ask our team and we'll get those answered for you. And then the last one, I want to spend about 10 minutes or about 5 minutes on this. This is going to be cloudability governance. So this is our answer to shifting left, meaning this is available to every customer today. So shifting left, what does that mean? It is meaning that we have cloudability insights at different layers of the CI/CD process and the development process, meaning we've worked with GitHub, we've worked with Terraform to work on specific policies that are built so that developers don't go off cost guardrails or don't. This is like building policies for tags. I'll show you that in just a little bit. But before they deploy or merge back into the code base, if they don't have certain things set up correctly, Cloudability and Terraform will actually kick back and say, no, you can't do that. And you need approval from an administrator within Cloudability to continue on. So again, this is our shift left, meaning we are meeting developers where they are at and informing them of important FinOps decisions that they need to make, whether it's tag hygiene or costs inside Cloudability, GitHub, or Terraform. Or I should say, and or Terraform, because they're available in all of them. Quick considerations to this now. Right now, it's available on GitHub and Terraform as of now, and for AWS resources. Azure, and we're starting to look at GitLab as well, is going to be in half one. Yep, someone just put something in the chat. GitLab, definitely, yes. GitLab is on the plan, and it will be added pretty soon. I believe Azure and Google, in terms of resources, will also be added pretty soon. So let me go ahead and punch into a demo here of Cloudability governance. So for orientation, I'm in my demo environment right now, starting to look at governance, which is on the right side. You do have 4 elements of a dashboard: policies, pull requests, and configuration. These are all specific RBAC roles that we have that are built out for this. So again, if you have questions on role permission and what the needed, I know specifically for policies and then configuration, there are 2 separate roles. So we're trying to make very granular permissions with that. So as we start to look at things, we can start to see that the policies that we have are specific to certain elements of tag and resource and then cost guardrails. So one of them is starting to look at what are my allowed resources that I'm allowed to create, meaning if I want to look at this policy, it's saying I cannot create, or in this one, it says if the EBS volume not equals GP2, then I have like a gated policy. So if it doesn't meet that condition, I have an alert that shows up and I can't move forward because it's gated. So to block the pull request. In the same way as we start to look at cost center tags or different things, this is now adding that governance on your tagging policy, meaning any new creation of workloads, if they do not have a certain cost center key and a value associated with it, I'm just going to raise a warning and say, hey, like this is a warning. I don't need direct approval to get that passed, but it is being logged within Terraform and GitHub, and I'm kind of breaking the rules, but we can move forward with that. So really, depending on the level of enforcement needed, you can pick and choose what those look like. In the same way with costs, this is starting to look at if I want to deploy something, but it's costing more than a certain increase. So meaning if it's a net new deployment, you may run this for like a month. In that case, if the cost of this workload is $1,000 for the month, and we do that in what we call the Terraform run tasks, if it hits that limit, it's gated within the pre-calculation, and I can't even deploy what I want to do. So again, 2 elements of looking at resource and tags, and then also cost guardrails. So what does this really start to look like within the developer framework? So starting to look at things like in Terraform. There we go. So in this case, this is just a demo that I have. But in this case, I have a plan that's finished, and then I have a run. I want to look at specifically what the run is and the repo that it's associated to. I can see everything that I'm trying to create and plan, and my post plan after the run and I can see in this case my run task that has gone through. So these are advisory severities, meaning again, I'm not gated by anything, but these are just things I need to be cautious of, and it will be logged in the system for creation. So meaning this is my cost center tag that I mentioned earlier. In this case, I'm seeing that I don't have a cost center tag for 9 of my resources, meaning as I spun things up, I don't have a cost center tag. So technically within my FinOps practice, my attribution doesn't really go back very well to that. So this is something that management can see, starting to look at ways of distributing data across the full life cycle of product development. And in this case, if I need to attribute this cost in the future, I know that that developer did not put a tag on it. So I have that documented. This is just, again, one use case of governance. I'm happy to talk about more, but this is some of our integration work with HashiCorp as we scale with that integration as well. So that is just a little snippet of cloudability governance, and this is available to all customers today. And I should also say this is available to all cloudability customers, commercial and MSP included. So with that, let me go ahead and pass it back over to Jay. Could talk about some of the resources that we have for you all.
Awesome. Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it. So we said 30 minutes, right? Here we are, like with a couple minutes to go. So like we're true to our word. I'm gonna quickly go through a lot of content. I think in the future, like we will just package this and put it at the end. But as we do the first few of these, just want to make you aware of all the things you have access to when we're not on these calls. Like, so in addition to, like Michael mentioned, we have folks in and out of here. So like Jim Alja is on this call today. Michael's on here. We have Sabiha from our enablement team. There's a lot of folks out there that are ready and willing to help. So like if you have these questions, reach out. But there's also a lot of self-service options. So in the case of FinOps, which we were discussing today, all these sales kits are available. The things around the general availability of governance, all the stuff that Michael just talked to. So like if you go and grab this deck, you're going to have all those links. You can always reach out to Partner Education. You can go through all the announcements and releases. So we're capturing all these in these decks, and just like, not wanting to keep you all day to talk about all the things we're doing. So there's constant, announcements and releases that are happening, but they are all contained here. And so every month we're updating these, putting these in this deck that you can go. So even if you can't make the sync and get to the call, definitely double back and look at these decks, because they're going to have all this information for you to take a look at. So like all the announcements and releases, training, so links to training, so things tied to Partner Plus that are out there, partner ecosystem. So just want you to have like a one-stop place to grab this. So this is going to eventually, I would say probably after the next couple of these. So like we have our costing and our SPM coming up. We'll just push these into the appendix of the decks that are going to be available post. But just wanted to, just keep you aware of all the places you can go in addition to all the people you can reach out to. Partner marketing kits, like everything. I know it's more of a technical crowd, but if the salespeople that drive you crazy have questions, you can point them here and be like, hey, go look at some marketing kits and give me a break so I can go do some actual technical solution work and sell this business. In terms of upcoming events, bunch of things in March. We are in March. It's quarter close. It's the most important quarter ever for all of us, right? Like, so that's always what's going on. But if you have a break in the action, a bunch of different things happening over in Europe. So like a bunch of, going on with the road show there. So all these different locations. We have all of our Beyond Apptio. So we just had our community call last week. The next one on that will be May 26th. So those are like more spaced out, focused on success stories, more the strategic side of things. So what we're trying to do is break apart strategic versus the technical sales track, just so if somebody wants to go to both, great, but usually the strategic people don't want to be bothered with the technical stuff sometimes, or maybe vice versa. So depending, you can go to the community call. We have our solution sync, where the next one here will be April 7th. We've talked about, ad nauseum here about like what our mission statement is on these. Big part before like we wrap up here is we love your feedback and requests. I know, like with the privacy pieces, that everything has to happen in chat, so it's a little like not quite the dialogue we want, but it's the you know, it's a dialogue we have, maybe not the dialogue we deserve. But reach out, give us the feedback and requests. We want to iterate on this to make it valuable to you. Like that's our whole mission here. So if you know we're not hitting the mark, there are things you want change, suggestions, we would love to hear it. As I mentioned, you know, upcoming we have SPM, ITFM. So April 7th will be SPM, where Brett will be walking through SPM Control Center and Workforce Management. Then we'll circle back May 5th with costing and TCO packs in ITFM. And again, if you have any suggestions for future sessions, let us know. But beyond that, as I go 1 minute over, which I don't think is terrible, that's it. So till we sync again, if there are any questions, reach out. Thanks, and we'll see you next month.